Thanks for joining us on the weekend edition of National Focus. I'm Jarna Hector. Coming up, close to 4,000 homes have been renovated under the Housing Revolution program. 5 have been certified in music business, and the government of Turkey has pledged to intensify its presence in Dominica. Stay tuned for details of these and other stories after this.
Dominica is blessed with an abundance of water, but getting it to your home is an expensive venture. You have a responsibility to conserve water, to use it wisely. Remember the old adage, you never miss the water till the well runs dry. Think water, think life.
Thank you for staying with us. The government of Turkey has affirmed that going forward, its presence will be felt in Dominica and the region. Turkey's new ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Aydin Evergen, made the statement on Wednesday when the government of Dominica hosted a thank you ceremony in recognition of over $300,000 in projects for Dominica. The projects were delivered by the Turkish International Cooperation Agency, TICA. On that occasion, Ambassador Evergen assured that TICA's presence will be increasingly felt in Dominica and the region.
We will make our International Cooperation Agency, it's called TICA, to be more present and more active in this region. That's why soon we will open an office for TICA in that region, somewhere closer than Turkey to this region. So they will have closer contacts, closer relations with your authorities, and they will be able to be more active, and they will be able to realize many more projects in cooperation with Dominica.
Both countries can begin looking forward to a more active collaboration. According to the Turkish ambassador, his government is prepared to be receptive development partners with Dominica.
We will be observing with appreciation the social and economic development efforts of Dominica, and we will be only very happy if we can contribute to these efforts, to also to support these social and economic development efforts here in this country. So we are very happy. So far, we have realized these cooperation projects with various authorities, Division of Agriculture and the DBS, and Water and Sewage Company and Ministry of Health. Well, this is a long-term relationship. These projects will continue. Our technical cooperation projects will continue in various sectors and various areas.
DOASCO, the Ministry of Health, DBS Radio, and the Division of Agriculture were the immediate beneficiaries of the project funded by the Turkish International Cooperation Agency. The Honorable Minister for Youth, Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment, Justina Charles, has called on nationals to use their passion as their guide in giving back. The Honorable Minister re-emphasized the significant value placed on the contribution of each national.
How can we as young people make contribution? We need to identify our potential, our skills, our passion. If we identify those areas, then it will direct us into providing in what area that we can continue to provide. Let us adopt organizations. Let us adopt. We can adopt a school, we can adopt a project, we can adopt a program, we can adopt some senior citizens, whatever your field of interest, your passion is. Let us adopt those institutions, those organizations, and let us work with them. And one of the things, as I sit and I listen, I think we need to begin that level, that spirit of volunteerism. We need to begin it very early in the life of individuals. And we need to begin at the preschools, move to primary school, secondary school. So as adults, that has been inculcated in us, and it becomes part of our culture to give back to our communities, to give back to our country.
The Honorable Minister also noted that the spirit of volunteerism should be instilled at an early age.
Let us adopt organizations. Let us adopt. We can adopt a school, we can adopt a project, we can adopt a program, we can adopt some senior citizens, whatever your field of interest, your passion is. Let us adopt those institutions, those organizations, and let us work with them. And one of the things, as I sit and I listen, I think we need to begin that level, that spirit of volunteerism. We need to begin it very early in the life of individuals. And we need to begin at the preschools, move to primary school, secondary school. So as adults, that has been inculcated in us, and it becomes part of our culture to give back to our communities, to give back to our country.
Honorable Minister Charles cited the famous quote, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country."
We too often we sit and we ask, what is government, what is the country doing for us? But we do not sit and ask, what can I do to transform and to make life better for our citizens and for ourselves? Because when we do those things, we do not only do it for those who are before us, but we prepare a future for ourselves as young people. And that is very, very important. Because our young people, we say, are the future, but we are not just the future, we are the present. Because what we do today determines the outcome for tomorrow. And so your contribution to the development process in your country now determines how well you prepare your leadership, your scope for leadership, how well you prepare your country that you can lead. Whatever you prepare now will either influence your activity positively or negatively in the future. And so it is important that we continue to do and to provide those level of support to government programs and to other institutions.
The Honorable Minister for Housing, Reginald Austri, is committed to continuing the housing revolution in Dominica. The housing revolution, which began in 2005, is in its 10th year. And the Honorable Minister says the initiative by the Dominica Labour Party will continue until all the needs of all who need assistance have been met. The Honorable Minister was speaking on the Focus on Government and Development radio program on Thursday night.
When we look at the statistics in 2000, we found out that we had about 5,000 homes that were in need of repairs. Plus, we were short on the housing stock by about 10,000. And so we decided we had to find a strategy to tackle this problem head on. Now, several governments had tried before. We were not the ones who introduced housing schemes and housing programs. Patrick John did it, the United Workers' Party did it. But whatever they did was not deep enough to impact on the people who really needed it most. Persons who could not go to the banks to secure mortgages, persons who did not have the land on which to build, and persons who were unemployed, single parents who just could not afford to have a roof over their head. And so we went into areas where men were afraid to tread.
Over the last 5 years, government has spent over $20 million in repairs and renovated close to 4,000 homes under the program.
The issue of housing has been very critical for this government. And it has always been, not only now, but it has been from the inception of this government. And that is why the housing revolution was created, to bring that kind of relief to our people at all stratas, at all levels, from the lowest level to the public officers to the highest level. And we've done tremendous work in all aspects of that revolution. And I can say to you that the work will continue as emphasized, as highlighted in our manifesto. The housing revolution will continue as long as the Dominica Labour Party remains in government, and as long as the last person in this country have not yet received some assistance for housing, we will not stop the housing revolution. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a challenge. And that is why, as we go along, we have to find creative ways of making changes, of improving, of implementing new strategies for the housing revolution. But that is our work. And in the housing revolution, I want to assure Dominicans that those of you who have not been touched will, in fact, be touched.
In other news, a class of 5 was certified in music business today at an awards ceremony at the Dominica State College. The Fundamentals of Music Business in the 21st Century course involved several principles and practices implemented to facilitate the requisite knowledge, skills, attitudes, and awareness of the local, regional, and international music industry. Meryl Matthew is the Director of Continuing Education at the Dominica State College.
in an effort to take our people from one level to the next, to ensure that we have a people contributing to economic growth and development, we have formed several partnerships. Another powerful partnership we have formed is with AMP, Association of Music Professionals. And it is as a result of this partnership that we are here today to celebrate the success of 5 ambitious students, trainees, learners.
Course facilitator McCarthy Marie remarked that for Dominica to be successful in the music industry, it is critical for nationals involved to understand how it functions.
What we have been trying to do, the government has a thing called the National Export Strategy, of which I used to be chairman of the Council supposed to execute it. And one of the items that have been identified, not only in Dominica but throughout the Caribbean, as activities in which we can be competitive is the music industry. But for us to participate in the music industry, particularly as an export activity, we need to know how the music industry functions. We're not going to create a new music industry, we simply want to participate in the one that exists. Yes? And in order for us to participate in it, we need to know how it functions out there.
DSC President Dr. Donald Peters noted that the course was part of the DSC's Career Technical Education Program, a vital new aspect of the education sector.
There's only one music industry. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And we're not even in the game, but we believe we are. So I'm glad that some people are recognizing that it's time that I learn business. I learn to be in the industry. I need the skills that everyone else has. I want to be an agent. I want to be a sound engineer. And I want to make a living out of that. And the college must participate and must be there to support it. We are putting a lot of energy in what we call career technical education.
The course, which is the first of its kind in Dominica, was conceptualized by the Association of Music Professionals, AMP, and delivered in partnership with the Department of Continuing Education of the DSC. Also this news time, the Honorable Minister for Housing, Reginald Austri, says the government of Dominica will continue to make lands available for the construction of homes. This is all part of government's efforts to reduce the number of squatters and to allow persons the opportunity to purchase lots at reduced rates. The Honorable Minister for Housing, Reginald Austri, was speaking on Focus on Government and Development on Thursday.
We have about 100 lots there in Cotton Hill to be made available to the people of Lagon and the surrounding areas. In Lily Valley in Trafalgar, we have another 15 lots. We're now doing the infrastructure to ensure that those lots can be made available to the people of the Lily Valley. In Cochrane, we have 20 lots in Cochrane, and we're now in the design stage of the infrastructure. In Coliho, in Platmapier, we have another 45 lots, okay, that we've developed, another 53 that we need to develop to ensure that persons of this area, and at a price which we know that the people can in fact afford. And it will never be at the market price, because at the market price we would not be able to target and to reach the people that we really want to reach. In Hillsborough Garden, right there in St. Joseph, having constructed these 30 homes, we still have another 49 lots that we now need to put in the infrastructure.
And 18-year-old Ahmed John Baptist of Capuchin is the 5th recipient of the Marcel Jamala Fontaine Scholarship. The fund was created in 2006 to commemorate and continue the work and vision of cultural activist Marcel Jamala Fontaine. The scholarship is for students who are eligible to attend the Dominica State College and who share Fontaine's enthusiasm and commitment to culture. The recipient must also be a member of a cultural organization and be actively involved in cultural activities. According to Dominica's acting Chief Cultural Officer, Jacinta David, Ahmed John Baptist fits the bill.
The Marcel Jamala Foundation, in collaboration with the committee Poetic Creole, could not have selected a better candidate. Ahmed has been involved in culture from the age of 3, and he has never stopped. Last year, he received the Young Artist Award for his involvement in the independence celebration activities and culture in general. I am by no means surprised that he is receiving yet another award for his involvement in culture.
Delman's Rasmo Moses is part of the Marcel Jamala Foundation. He described Marcel as a cultural militant and Ahmed as up and coming on that path. He advised parents to raise more Marcels and Ahmeds.
We want to encourage parents in Dominica to get their children involved in culture. We want to tie culture to scholarship because, of course, regardless of what professions they choose, they can be creative and it helps creativity. And of course, it's good therapy, it has a role, and our language, we want to continue to preserve it because it's ours. We want to feel a sense of pride in who we are and what we are.
The Comité Poétique Creole, or CEC, is a large part of this movement since its purpose is to promote and preserve Dominica's culture and Creole language. Raymond Lawrence is the committee's chairman.
CEC has been around for a very long time, since the early 1980s, helping to introduce events like Heritage Day and Creole Day, and researching and publishing Dominica's first Creole dictionary. And through the years, and in more recent times, CEC, with the assistance of the Cultural Division, has been very instrumental in researching and publishing several publications, including Powell Creole, which is a book containing over 500 proverbs, Mi Bredex, a book containing several Creole expressions, Tim Tim Glo du Bout, which contains several Tim Tim expressions, L'Histoire Dominique, which features some of Dominica's folk stories and which were written and compiled by Delia Coffee Weeks, and a book with some of the quotes of Lawrence Bromant in Creole with English translations. About 6 years ago, CEC, again with the assistance of the Cultural Division, also introduced an annual Creole Spelling Bee competition for primary schools.
Last year, the Comité Poétique Creole also introduced the Creole Choral Speech Competition for secondary schools, which is anticipated to become an annual event. The Marcel Jamala Fontaine Scholarship was awarded to Ahmed's parents in his absence. Frank John Baptiste, his father, feels that his sacrifices to allow his family to become more culturally active have paid off.
I'm filled with emotion this morning for being so thankful for my son. And he, as previous speaker have said, the journey for him has started since he was a babe. I never got involved in the sense of trying to discourage his mom or he for getting involved in culture. Most times that they have to go out to perform or to practice, I'm the one staying at home, doing all the chores so that they can go forward and do what they have to do. So, it's bearing fruits now.
Ahmed, who is in his first year of studies at the Dominica State College, is a member of the Capuchin Cultural Group, which is led by his mother, Gilles Carbon John Baptiste. Ahmed's tuition, books, and transportation costs will be covered by the scholarship. And now for a recap of the week's headline stories, here's Kimani Seja.
Welcome to this week's edition of Flashback. In the headlines this week, the Aid Bank has revealed plans to upgrade its 3 industrial estates as part of its new strategic plan for the next 3 years. The bank is currently in the process of seeking new financing and/or investors for the proposed upgrade. Also this week, the dream of self-improvement has become a reality for 45 young people from the east to the southeast of Dominica as they received their certification from a hospitality apprenticeship training module in bartending, wait service, culinary arts, and housekeeping, all part of the National Employment Program. Government spent over $120,000 on that module. We learned this week that the island's Honorable Finance Minister, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit, has committed to cheaper financing options for potential investors. Prime Minister Skerrit announced a new line of credit from Venezuelan bank and development partner Bandes while addressing the aid bank's 22nd annual general meeting. His Excellency Aiden Evergen has been welcomed as the Republic of Turkey's new ambassador to Dominica. The ambassador presented his credentials to His Excellency President Charles Salvador on Monday. The Honorable Prime Minister Rufus Skerrit announced that starting this month, the Caribbean Court of Justice will be fully effective in Dominica. An amendment was made to the Constitution in 2014 to allow Dominica to regard the Caribbean Court of Justice as its final court of appeal. Government signed a $22 million contract with the European Union this week. That contract is for the rehabilitation of the roads from Waltial to Point Nelat in the east of the country. The election of a new Speaker of the House of Assembly will be the first matter to be decided when the House convenes on February 20, 2015. Prime Minister Honorable Rufus Skerrit has announced that Alex Boyd Knights has been nominated for that position and Senator Edward Regis for Deputy Speaker of the House. And Honorable Rufus Skerrit, Prime Minister of Dominica and Chairman of the OECS Authority, which governs the OECS, went to Martinique for the OECS Authority's 60th meeting. Martinique officially became the newest associate member of the OECS at that meeting. Those were the headline stories which made the news this week. Back to you, Jarna.
Thank you, Kimani. And that's the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à ces nouvelles en créole. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, le gouvernement Dominique qui supporté volontaire plateforme pour Dominique. Parole celle-là sortie au ministre jeunesse, Honorable Justina Charles, pendant un workshop volontaire qui prend place en Dominique semaine salam et puis si pour un NGO au Canada QSO ensemble et puis gouvernement Dominique.
Volunteer platform, c'est basically ou quand on joue un agreement avec QSO où la UK qui supporter ces programmes là, nous savons QSO qui voit volontaire tout le pays là pour aider en various tout différents areas. So si nous en Dominique besoin aider QSO, nous ça, si nous besoin aider QSO, nous ça, because of agreement between the countries là, yo qui voit aider ba nous, si nous besoin yo venir aider nous en ayant bitin yo même qui venir, si nous même ça ba yo aider en ayant manière. So nous pour garder compte qui country qui ni best practice là, et bien là nous ça changer skills là, changer skills avec aider yon et l'autre.
Un autre nouvel gouvernement Dominique établit Accreditation Board. Si le chairman board cela, Sylvia Nicolas, board là établi pour protéger moun et puis degré éducation ailleurs.
Travail nous, c'est travail nous qui protéger moun Dominique. Plus les moun vle aller study, les moun vle aller faire bite overseas online, yo vle certificate, nous ka di moun yo ni pour garder bien ça yo ka fait because actuellement any tama moun ever tama institution ki ka yo where moun vle certificate moun vle diploma so yo ka fait toute qualité bite pour moun taper certificate ever diploma ever moun ka pour loan yo ka pour gros loan yo ka fait toute bite ever yo ka pour l'argent ça là pour yo payer mais ça nous ka di moun ni moun ni pour ouvrir yo plus il ni bite eve moun de hola qui ka ni pour l'argent yo pour rien eve le yo pour l'argent yo pour payer yo pas ça joindre yo si c'est online le yo aller online yo kewe place ça la pa ka existe ou si yo ta aller avec une institution plus yon temps mon pas savent si Dominique qui connaît en place à Coptol, yo teni au University Coptol ou savent. Moun pas connaître ça, avait monter aller pour l'argent yo, avait register avec University Coptol ça là. Les moun aller, il pas ni nous à Dominique nous connaître, il pas ni pièce University Coptol. So ça nous ka fait nous ka protecter moun, nous ka ouvrir moun. Avec National Accreditation Board là, Bafé State, bo JSP building là, c'est là in your moun là Mr. Rock, Mr. Rock c'est moun là qui a chaz, et ini au secretary là qui a aidé Mr. Rock. So si vous décidez pour aller à l'université, aller là, et made yo checks yo ke fait ça yo ka ki au search bar, et yo ke dire si place ça là, si institution ça là, si online place ça là, c'est au bon place.
En d'autres nouvelles, le Parlement Dominique est ouvert pour les premières fois le 20 février depuis l'élection générale l'année passée. Premier bagage qui prend place que l'élection en speaker et puis député speaker. Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt déjà fait parole qui côté gouvernement, il a fait nomination Honorable Alex Boyd Knight pour speaker et puis sénateur Honorable Edward Regis comme député speaker. Il expecte qu'après l'élection là, c'est officier ça là qui s'est monté pour l'office. Tout membre qui aussi s'est monté comme membre parlement. Président His Excellency Charles Sovereign qui aussi délivré une adresse en parlement là. Il a aussi fait appointement plusieurs comités comme Public Accounts, Privilege Committee, Standing Order Committee, ensemble et puis Parliamentary et puis Broadcast Committee. Parlement qui est ouvert à 10h le bon matin en l'occasion à Victoria Street en ville aux eaux. Et puis finalement, spectacle Teenage Pageant qui prend place dimanche à venir en Stadium Windsor Park. M. Raymond Lawrence, c'est chef théâtre White Kubole qui a organisé un spectacle là.
Nous avons 7 filles l'école secondaire Dominique qui a participé à la Teenage Pageant. Il a pris place dimanche à Stadium là, qui a commencé à 5h après-midi. Et bien, nous avons encouragé les gens pour venir supporter ces jeunes filles. Nous avons Swinging Stars, nous avons Colton T, nous avons Das, Luce White Kubuli, nous avons Calypsonians, Miss Dominica, Carnival Princess. Show ça là qui est bien excité, qui fait tout le monde amuser koyo, enjoy koyo à stadium là. So nous avons invité tout le monde pour venir supporter ces 7 filles qui ont participé à la Miss Teen Dominica 2015.
Lawrence fait parole bénéfice participants là sans accomplir un spectacle là.
Il y a différents aspects pour parler, pour manière de marcher, manière de porter koyo. Tout ça, ça servi, là, yo aller pour un job. Là, yo quitter l'école, yo chercher un job. Tout ça, yo apprendre pour Teenage Pageant, ça aide yo pour taper en travail, là, yo quitter l'école. Yo ça participer à l'autre compétition si vous voulez. Yo ça aller participer à la Carnival Queen, Miss Dominica. Ces jeunes filles qui participaient à la Teenage Pageant, qui allaient participer à la Miss Dominica aussi. Et ils ont gagné Miss Dominica. So, il y a une belle opportunité pour avancer pour faire koyo plus meilleur.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour Nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non moins c'est McPherson Luce. Qu'est-ce que tout le monde un bon week-end. Au revoir.
Coming up next, something you should do before bed.
If you can believe this, why can't you believe this?
Uncle tried to make me have sex.
Some mothers don't believe their own children when they say they've been sexually abused, and they don't report it. Remember, if anyone asks to see or touch their private parts, touches them inappropriately, shows them or forces them to touch one's private parts, has sex with them, shows them pornographic material, or deliberately lets them hear or see the act of sex, then it is sexual abuse. Believe your child and report the sexual abuse. For more information about child abuse, contact these agencies. This message brought to you by UNICEF and this station.
The very last thing you should do before bed tends to have a significant impact on your mood and energy level the following day, since it often determines how well and how much you sleep. This is why reading before bed is actually a good practice. It calms your mind, turns off your internal chatter, and helps you concentrate on something other than yourself. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Like our Facebook page, facebook.com/GIS News Dominica, and follow our Twitter at GIS Dominica. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. From all of us here on the GIS News production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching and have a great weekend.